What's up? It's Wrestling in the Basement. Money in the Bank edition. Thor, Brian. Yeah. So I don't really know how to start. There was a lot of things that happened in this pay-per-view. It was a very eventful pay-per-view. I guess regardless of how you feel on the pay-per-view, I bet you want to watch Tuesday to see what's going to happen next. So, realistically, I guess win, I guess. Let's go through it. Pre-show, Hype Bros versus the Colognes. Better match than I had anticipated it being. A lot more hard hitting than I thought that it was going to be. It was a good match. Like, nothing spectacular, but it was good to see the Hype Bros back together. The Colognes have a much better gimmick going than they did with the Shining Stars. They're decent heels, you know.
They're all right. I think the Hype Bros, I don't really like their gimmick, and I don't think I ever will, but their wrestling was really
not a big Hype Bros
good,
fan either. American Alpha, that's what I'm waiting for the comeback of. American Alpha. So then let's go right main show. Money in the Bank, the women's match kicks off. I'll give you the 3 words I wrote down, and I wrote down 3 words for almost every match. So the 3 words for this match I wrote down were sloppy, wow, and heat with 3 underlines. So let's start with that sloppy word. It was kind of a sloppy match. Some of the girls looked tentative with the ladders. They looked almost afraid to take some of the bumps, which I can understand. I mean, ladder matches aren't known for their
being nice to you.
There you go. I mean,
just look at the men's one at the end.
I was going to say, just wait till what happens to KO. But yeah, so we got Natalya, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Carmella, Tamina. No 6th member, so no Nikki Bella or Asuka like some people were hoping for. It was those 5. It was a really good match, actually. I mean, like I said, it was a little sloppy, but it was a decent match. It was a good match. The ending, though, I guess I'm torn on this ending. So the ending was James Ellsworth comes in, knocks Becky Lynch off the ladder by like tipping it backwards, then proceeds to check on Carmella. Carmella's down and out, so he climbs the ladder, takes the briefcase off, a man in a woman's Money in the Bank ladder match, and then drops it to Carmella laying on the mat. I can tell you it's not super positive responses on the internet. There are some people who are like, you know, this was smart. And the reason they're going with the smart thing is because my 3rd word, heat with 3 underlines. This is going to generate massive amounts of
almost
heat.
Instantly. The crowd went from, at first they're like really for Becky, then she gets knocked off and they're booing, and then everyone sees Ellsworth look up at the case and they all start chanting yes, like, come on.
There's some going no. It was a little...
I think everybody who was chanting yes was like, go up there and get knocked off by one of the ladies. That would be sweet.
They were saying yes, that they didn't think he was actually going to climb and get it, but climb up there and something bad was going to happen to him.
Right. And then the minute he grabbed it and unhooked it, dude, that
crowd
went...
a cascade of boos.
Dude, it went so sour, it wasn't even funny.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the refs were, like, arguing or whatever, everyone was, like... You could tell the crowd was just, like...
Well, when we thought Shane O'Mac was going to show up, it was really weird, too, to have a pay-per-view, no Daniel Bryan, no Shane O'Mac.
But then they both posted on Twitter, like we're going to talk about this on SmackDown. Who the hell
was in charge? Renee Young's in charge tonight or something? I mean, it was...
Although, like you said, and I think they... further pushed that you gotta watch Tuesday to see what the hell they're gonna do, because they showed like both Daniel Bryan and Shane posted on Twitter like
unhappy, you know, about the outcome.
This is unbelievable. We are gonna have some talks about this shit.
First thing being addressed on SmackDown Live, so it'll be interesting to see where they go. Carmella's your Money in the Bank, where your Mrs. Money in the Bank, Miss Money in the Bank, right? I don't know what the proper one is. So, Ms. Money in the Bank. Then we had the Usos versus the New Day. This is actually a much better match than I, again, anticipated. It was really hard-hitting. I think the overall theme of the pay-per-view was, like, brutal, good wrestling with weird to awful to great finishes. It ran the gambit. Yeah. Well, just weird and awful. There were no great finishes. Let's be real. Well, no, the end of the ladder match, you know what? There were all sorts of finishes. The finish of this one, though, is the Usos retain. No, the Usos retain, but they didn't win. They lost the match via countout. So New Day wins because the Usos were holding their own, but it was looking like they were going to get beat. So
It was to the point where they were like, we're not going to keep messing around and risk
so they
it.
just grabbed their belts and took off. And honestly, crowd didn't love it, but it's not something we see a lot of.
Right.
I mean, we see more of, we're going to grab our belts and leave, and then someone comes out, beats them up, throws them back in the ring. You know what I mean? You don't see them just grab it and be like, all right, 10 count, we're out the door. It keeps the feud open. Stop bouncing your fucking leg next to me. That's getting really annoying. Sorry. But it keeps the feud going. And like, you know, it's honestly, I liked it. I liked it a lot better than the ending of the first match. I think. I still don't know how I feel about the ending of the first match. I'm torn, as you can tell.
I think that's the point, though.
Right, it is. It should be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely want to see what happens on Tuesday night.
Well, even
You
the
know?
tag team, like, obviously that's the lesser of the two bad, like,
Right.
evil finishers. But
The weird-
at the same time, it's you're still curious. You're still like, so, like,
What's going to happen?
right? Are
What's
they
gonna
going to
happen
get
next?
like a no DQ match? Or
They're going to
no-
have some sort of stipulation, I'd say, for the next pay-per-view. And there has to be one more pay-per-view for SmackDown before SummerSlam, too. I was also thinking about that. So, either way, next match, Naomi versus Lana. Lana's debut match came out in literally a swimsuit showing lots of ass cheek.
Well, yeah, pretty much a swimsuit. I mean, it's
It was
a
almost,
singlet.
it was
but-
a singlet, almost swimsuit, showing a lot of butt cheek with like cutouts on the side. It was...
I mean, Jinder Mahal showed just as much butt cheek.
He did, but, you know, he also comes out wearing a Speedo, so it's fine. Naomi wins, retains. No big surprise there. Carmella came out, faked that she was going to cash in, didn't.
And threw Lana off her game. She looked like she was going to win.
Yeah, Lana just stood there the whole time Carmella's walking down, like, does nothing, which I hate when they do that. It's like, it was just like when Nakamura came out. We'll get to that at the end. But there's another time where someone's coming out, and instead of, like, continuing to doing what you were doing, they completely freeze, like, deer in headlights. And, like, no one's going to really do that. Like, I'm not just going to stand, you know what I mean? I'm going to wait until they, whatever. So it was, I didn't have a problem with this match. It was fine. Lana actually looked good in a lot of spots. She looked vicious. I'm decent with it, you know? Nothing really...
Well, and I like that her style feels Rusev inspired.
A little bit, with no Rusev in this whole pay-per-view. I'll just get that out of the way now. Big disappointment. That's not a positive. Then we had the Fashion Police, or in this case, Fashion Vice. They were both dressed up like Miami Vice dudes in awful white suits. One had a pink shirt, one had a blue shirt. They got a VHS from the mystery people who have been wrecking
Way to
their shop.
spoiler it.
It was the Ascension. You could see how like Connor stood in his stupid fucking haircut. I mean, honestly, it wasn't hard to. If you watch any wrestling whatsoever, you saw and you're like, oh, yeah, I understand. It's the Ascension that's going to come out. So the guys in the VHS challenged him to a match. Lucky it was a solid segment. So then we got that match.
And they did a good
later.
job breaking up some of these, because they broke up right after we had the heat was still like crazy on from
From the first.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first three matches, really.
so they pretty much had to kind of give it like some air.
Well, there was the Bob Orton segment backstage with Sergeant Slaughter that we missed. Then after that, then we had probably the worst moment of the evening. No, not probably, definitely the worst moment of the evening. What are these people's names? Mike and Maria
Oh God, yeah.
Kanellis? And I only wrote down one word for this, and it was awful. That was the only word I wrote down, was awful. The three words I wrote down for Uso New Day: count out, brutal, really. So, I don't know what the really was about. Oh, maybe really 2 matches in a row that ended funky. I think that's what the really was about, but whatever. Yeah, so only word for Mike and Maria Kanellis, and that's the last time I hope I ever have to talk about those two, is just awful. Just don't do this. This is bad. This isn't gonna work. I can already see this train wreck. No, thank you. But then we got Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal. Good match, really good match. Jinder retains, right decision. I mean, Randy was in his hometown, so we all knew he wasn't gonna win. Plus, you had all the legends in the front row.
His dad's watching.
His dad, Ric Flair, the Claw. Who else was out there?
There's like,
Mr. Perfect's dad, Kurt Hennig.
oh yeah.
Or no, I don't think it was Kurt Hennig, but because I think that's Mr. Perfect's name. But whatever. Either way, there are a bunch of legends out there. Randy loses. It was a good match, though. He effed up the Singh boys again.
God.
He really likes to just brutalize those two.
He's not nice to those guys.
I don't think Randy Orton's a nice person in general.
I don't know. Every time I've heard him in interviews, it's not like he's a jerk, but at the same time, I don't think he'd purposefully. I've heard he actually has a temper. They always talk about like, oh, Randy Orton's got a temper like in the ring, but I've heard he actually has a pretty bad temper. But it wasn't like the last time he messed up one of the like where he threw one of them and he gave that look like, yo, that was an accident. This time he actually just threw him really meanly and then did not care.
That was awesome. It was good. It was a really good match. I liked it. Then I wrote down Money in the Bank, which actually didn't happen next, so I had to make an addendum. Then we got that Breezango versus the mystery opponent, a.k.a. the Blatant Ascension. Fashion Police beat the Ascension. Whatever.
Riding hot. Another good spacer.
The Ascension were just never developed properly from their whole bring up. I mean, that's a different story for a different day. So then we got to the Money in the Bank match. Honestly, the match of the pay-per-view. I mean, it's match of the night. It's an easy match of the night, too. There's not even a close competitor for that match of the night to this match.
Which is sad. The women's wasn't even, like, close to as good.
It was good, but it was half as long. Mm-hmm. That was a long ladder match. Baron Corbin attacking Shinsuke right when he was coming out, like right when his entrance started, knocking him out of the match. The stuff KO went through is just, I mean, he took that thing on the apron from Sammy. Was that other one from Sammy on the open ladder?
Yeah,
where
it wasn't even. I don't even think the ladder was open. I think it was.
No, it was all the way open. It was literally all the way open. That's why it folded like that. Yeah, the first time he took it,
like folded like this.
Yeah,
like all the
he hit it sideways, and then he took the AA from AJ Styles on the ladder that was like across the stairs to one of the announce tables. What else?
And that cut him open.
Ziggler took a nasty power bomb from Zayn where he came over the ladder and then power bombed him.
Over
that
it,
was
then
that
from
was
the top,
sick.
dude.
There was a lot of good moments in this.
Ziggler moved the ladder out from under AJ right
and he
before
just fell on his face. That looked painful as shit. The phenomenal forearm where he jumped up and caught, I think it was Zayn halfway up the ladder. It was amazing. It was a really that was. I mean,
well, I also really liked
great match.
The camera angles they
The
had.
top
going
down.
on.
Yeah, they've been doing those.
Watching that power bomb off that top ladder.
I missed that
like
one.
that,
Pissed me
dude.
off.
That was a good camera shot.
It was a good pay-per-view. Talking Smack afterwards was pretty uneventful. It was fine. He left to do something, but whatever. So yeah, that was the pay-per-view. B-.
B-
is it's a fair grade. It wasn't,
and part of me thinks they designed it not necessarily to be boring, but for you to feel like it should have been a B- because of the ends.
They need more singles competitors. I mean, honestly, okay, so they don't really, because when you have all 6 in a ladder match, that's most of your matches of the night in one match. So I get it, but I would have loved to have a Ty Dillinger versus somebody. Or, I would have loved to have something else.
And like you were saying, I think we're going to have some good feuds going forward.
We had 3 tag team matches, okay? Mm-hmm. We had 2 women's matches, okay? We only had 1 men's singles match in the whole pay-per-view. Jinder versus Orton.
Well, it doesn't help you have the other belt on the guy who's in.
Right, no, I get that. But, I mean, you could have found some way. Ty Dillinger hasn't been on TV in a couple weeks. Like, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, they're not building off his momentum that he had from his call-up.
Even you almost always say when we have, there's too many matches, it's too long.
I do. But in this case, I mean, I think it ended also like a half hour earlier. I think it ended about 9:30. So... I don't know. Either way, B-. Yeah, B-. Is that what I said? B-. Yeah, B-. It was good because it's borderline C. You take out that Money in the Bank ladder match,
but that's the main event.
That's close to a D. at that point.
But even then, I think you're kind of...
Well, okay, maybe you're C- level at
Because the
that
Jinder
point.
Mahal Orton
you're
match
right.
was good.
Yeah, but the Money in the Bank brings it a whole letter grade up. Either way, we're splitting hairs at this point. Another Gamer Corner coming. There was actually 2 taped the day that I put up the last one, but I just haven't put up the second
I'm sure they
one.
could imply that when I said that was the...
Whatever.
You put them out of order.
I did that on purpose. No Base My Banner episode this week. We'll get you next week, probably. No, we will. We will get you next week. Saber Legion stuff next week. Saber Legion tournament next week. Lots of stuff. Just check out all the Base My Banner, Facebook, Instagram. Check out everything we have because there'll be tons of stuff coming in the next week between now and this time next week. That's what a week is. If you didn't know, days. Yeah. Thor, Brian. Till next time. Deuces.
Woo!
There you
I
go.
had to do the